Ladies and gentlemen, the Screen Icon Award goes to the gorgeous and unmatched, the still my beating heart, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise was once Hollywood's biggest star, but now things are falling apart. Failed marriages, intense battles over his connection to Scientology, and risky stunts that nearly cost him his life. It's all starting to catch up with him. His own daughter barely knows him, and even his biggest movies are now being called a gamble. Is the man who seemed untouchable finally losing everything? You'll be shocked after hearing the complete story. Born on July 3rd, 1962, in Syracuse, New York, Tom Cruise was the second of 4 children in a family that struggled financially. His early years were tough, marked by constant moving and tight money situations. Tom's father, Thomas Cruise Mapother III, worked as an electrical engineer, but Tom recalls him as a chaos merchant who was often abusive. He described his father as someone you couldn't trust, and this made Tom's childhood even more challenging. His mother, Mary Lee, was a special education teacher who did her best to provide a stable Catholic upbringing for her children, despite the hardships they faced. Because money was always tight, Tom had to work odd jobs from a young age. He mowed lawns, raked leaves, delivered newspapers, and even sold postcards just to help his family get by. The constant financial strain wasn't the only instability. His family moved frequently, and as a result, Tom ended up attending 15 different schools in 14 years. One of these schools was in Canada, where his father had taken a job with the military. It was there that Tom discovered his passion for acting. He joined the drama club and started performing in school plays. One of his teachers even said Tom had a natural talent for performing, and this sparked a dream that would later shape his life. However, life took another turn when his parents divorced. Tom's mom took the kids back to the United States, and his father, who remained in Canada, later passed away from cancer. For a while, Tom considered becoming a priest, and even enrolled in a seminary. But that path was cut short when he was kicked out for drinking and acting up, making him realize that the priesthood wasn't meant for him. Back in high school in the United States, Tom tried his hand at football, but trouble followed him again when he got caught drinking before a game. He was always restless, bouncing from one job to another, either quitting or getting fired because he found it boring. Despite these setbacks, he never lost sight of his dream to become an actor. Tom's last high school was in New Jersey, where he continued to act in school plays. In 1980, he graduated, ready to take on the world, but still unaware of the fame that awaited him. Fresh out of high school, Tom Cruise packed his bags and headed to New York City with big dreams and little money. Supported by his mom and stepdad, he started working as a waiter while attending auditions, never giving up on his dream. Tom's hard work paid off. After some time, he moved to Los Angeles, where he caught the attention of the Creative Artists Agency, CAA, a top talent agency. This led to his first movie role in Endless Love in 1981. That same year, he landed a more significant part in the film Taps, playing a wild military academy student. Endless Love opened the door for Tom Cruise, and he quickly started landing more acting roles. One of his early big breaks was joining the cast of The Outsiders, a film adaptation of a popular book. He also starred in All the Right Moves, and it wasn't long before people in Hollywood started to take notice of his talent. Around this time, Tom's personal life also made headlines. He dated several women, including Rebecca De Mornay, Patti Scialfa, and even Cher. However, despite these relationships, Tom remained laser-focused on his acting career. His major breakthrough came in 1983 with the movie Risky Business. In it, he played a high schooler who turns his house into a brothel while his parents are away, a role that was bold and unconventional. It was a gamble, but it paid off. Tom's performance in Risky Business was a hit with critics, and the film became a massive success. This role catapulted him into the limelight and set him on the path to becoming the superstar he is today. In 1985, with his star already rising, Tom took on the lead role in Ridley Scott's fantasy film Legend, where he played Jacko the Green, a forest dweller with a magical connection to nature. Interestingly, Jack would become a name he'd use in several other movies throughout his career. Although Legend wasn't a huge box office hit, it did earn some nominations, including an Oscar nod for its impressive makeup effects. The real turning point for Tom came in 1986 with Top Gun. Initially, he wasn't sure about taking on the role, but the producers managed to change his mind by taking him on an exhilarating ride in an F-14 fighter jet. After experiencing all the high-speed twists and turns firsthand, Tom was hooked and eager to be part of the film. To prepare for his role as a fighter pilot, Tom learned to ride a motorcycle and even got the chance to control a real F-14 jet. This experience marked the start of his commitment to performing his own stunts, a dedication that would define his career for years to come. His first flight in the F-14 wasn't easy, though. He flew with a pilot named Lloyd Bozo Abel, who put the jet through intense maneuvers. Tom ended up getting sick, and when Bozo started climbing, the G-forces pushed Tom's head down to the floor of the cockpit. Struggling to communicate, Tom finally managed to tell Bozo what was happening, to which Bozo replied with a laugh, "They don't call me Bozo for nothing." There was another amusing detail about the filming of Top Gun. Tom Cruise, who is 5'7" tall, is shorter than his co-star Kelly McGillis, who is 5'10" tall. To balance out their height difference, Tom wore special shoes with thick soles in some scenes, particularly in the famous moment when their characters have a conversation after a motorcycle chase. Top Gun became one of the biggest movies of the year, solidifying Tom Cruise's status as a Hollywood superstar. It also ignited his love for adrenaline-fueled action scenes, marking the beginning of a career filled with high-octane stunts and iconic roles that would make him a household name for decades to come. In 1987, Tom Cruise married actress Mimi Rogers, who introduced him to the Church of Scientology, a controversial organization that would become a major part of his life for years. However, their marriage didn't last long. By 1990, they had divorced, citing their busy schedules and a loss of connection. Not one to dwell on setbacks, Tom threw himself back into acting and starred in The Color of Money alongside the legendary Paul Newman. Years later, Tom shared a humorous story from their time on set. During a frigid Chicago winter, Tom, dressed in a leather jacket, was shivering, while Newman stayed warm in a car with the heater running. Newman jokingly teased Tom, teaching him a valuable lesson about being prepared for any situation on set. In 1988, Tom took on the lead role in Cocktail, a film that was not well received by critics. It even earned several Golden Raspberry Award nominations, the Razzies, which highlight the worst movies and performances of the year. But that same year, Tom starred in Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman, and that film turned out to be a completely different story. At first, neither Tom nor Hoffman felt confident about Rain Man. They jokingly referred to it as two jerks in a car, and Hoffman even tried to quit after just 3 weeks, telling the director it was the worst job he'd ever had. Little did he know, Hoffman would go on to win an Oscar for his performance. Throughout the filming, Tom and Hoffman worked closely together, even switching roles during rehearsals. Their dedication paid off as Rain Man became both a critical and commercial hit. Legendary actor Michael Caine even praised Tom's performance, calling it perfectly played. Tom's role required a great deal of discipline and subtlety, and he delivered a performance that won the empathy of audiences worldwide. Rain Man didn't start off as a box office smash, but quickly gained momentum, becoming a huge success. The film won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and Tom received the Kansas City Film Critics Circle Award for Best Supporting Actor. Today, Rain Man is considered a classic, and Tom's nuanced performance is a big reason why. In 1989, Tom took on a more challenging role in Born on the 4th of July, where he portrayed Ron Kovacs, a real-life Vietnam War veteran who became paralyzed. This powerful performance earned Tom a Golden Globe Award, a Chicago Film Critics Association Award, and a People's Choice Award, as well as his first Oscar nomination for Best Actor. His portrayal demonstrated his range as an actor, proving he was more than just a Hollywood heartthrob. By 1990, Tom's star power was undeniable. He was even named the sexiest man alive by People magazine that year. His next big project was Days of Thunder, a romantic sports drama about race car drivers. It was on this set that Tom met Nicole Kidman, who would become his second wife. Tom was so impressed with her performance in another film that he insisted she be cast as his love interest in Days of Thunder. Interestingly, the idea for Days of Thunder came about after Tom and Paul Newman had the chance to test drive a race car. They were so thrilled by the experience that they decided to make the movie, even though they didn't have a finished script. Often they would come up with scenes just moments before filming, adding to the spontaneous energy that made the film so memorable. Tom was so dedicated to the racing scenes in Days of Thunder that he tried to read his lines from cue cards taped to the windshield while driving. This method didn't go as planned, and he ended up having a minor accident. After that, Tom had to use an earpiece so someone could feed him his lines while he drove. It turns out that Tom had always been passionate about cars and racing. As a kid, he watched races on TV, and his work with Paul Newman on The Color of Money only fueled his love for the sport. Newman even gave Tom the chance to try racing himself, letting him drive a modified Nissan GT3 car on a real track. Tom's first experience on the racetrack was both terrifying and thrilling. He was scared, but the rush of adrenaline made him fall in love with the sport even more. In Days of Thunder, most of the intense driving stunts were handled by a professional NASCAR driver, but Tom's passion for speed was evident throughout the film. Interestingly, the cars used in the movie were prepped by a professional racing team, and some of them even went on to compete in real races later. However, the biggest spark on set wasn't just the roaring engines. It was the chemistry between Tom and his co-star, Nicole Kidman. They fell in love during filming and quickly became one of Hollywood's most talked-about couples. They got married on Christmas Eve that same year. Nicole later shared that she was head over heels for Tom, so much so that she put her own plans on hold for him. She desperately wanted to start a family, but sadly, she experienced an ectopic pregnancy and lost the baby. This heartbreaking experience led them to adopt 2 children, Isabella and Connor, through the Church of Scientology. In 1992, Tom and Nicole reunited on screen for the historical drama Far and Away, where they played Irish immigrants chasing their dreams in America. It was another opportunity for them to showcase their real-life chemistry on screen. By this time, Tom's star power was only growing. In 1990, he starred in the legal thriller The Firm, based on John Grisham's best-selling novel. Tom's role was so prominent that he negotiated to have his name as the only one above the movie's title on the poster. This decision upset co-star Gene Hackman, who ended up asking for his name to be removed from the poster entirely. Despite the behind-the-scenes drama, The Firm was a massive hit, earning $270 million at the box office. As Tom's career kept soaring, he continued to take on bigger and more exciting projects. But in 1994, he surprised everyone by starring in Interview with the Vampire, a dark and eerie film about vampires. The movie had a star-studded cast, including Brad Pitt, who was also emerging as a heartthrob. Tom took on the role of Lestat, a charismatic and dangerous vampire, which was a big departure from his usual action-packed roles. Despite the change, Tom loved the experience, as he had always been fascinated by scary movies and the world of vampires. Filming Interview with the Vampire wasn't easy. The actors playing vampires had to hang upside down for extended periods to get their makeup done, which made the blood rush to their heads. This allowed the makeup artists to highlight their veins, creating a chilling, authentic look. It was a long and exhausting process, and Tom Cruise spent hours in the makeup chair every single day. Tom also had to address his height yet again, as he needed to stand on boxes in some scenes to appear taller next to the other vampires. There were even rumors of tension between him and Brad Pitt, with reports claiming that Tom thought Brad didn't use deodorant and had a bit of an odor. To prepare for his role as Lestat, Tom watched videos of lions attacking zebras. It might sound strange, but this helped him tap into Lestat's predatory instincts. Interestingly, the role of Lestat was initially offered to Johnny Depp, but he turned it down, leaving the door open for Tom. At first, Anne Rice, the author of the novel Interview with the Vampire, didn't think Tom was the right fit for Lestat. However, after seeing the film, she was so impressed by his performance that she publicly apologized to him in a newspaper ad. The movie went on to become a box office hit, grossing over $223 million, even earning a couple of Oscar nominations. Since then, Tom has kept a sweet tradition going. Every Christmas, he sends Kirsten Dunst, who played the young vampire Claudia, a coconut cake with white chocolate pieces. She affectionately calls it the Cruise Cake and absolutely loves it. While Interview with the Vampire was a great success, Tom's next project would be even bigger. In 1996, he starred in Mission Impossible, a film that would become a defining moment in his career. Playing Ethan Hunt, a top-secret agent on a mission to clear his name after being accused of a crime, Tom launched what would become one of the most successful franchises in movie history. Tom Cruise and his production partner, Paula Wagner, spent months developing the story for Mission Impossible with director Sidney Pollack. Eventually, Tom decided to bring in Brian De Palma, a director he had met while working on Interview with the Vampire. Tom was impressed by De Palma's work and felt he was the right fit to bring the film to life. The script for Mission Impossible went through numerous rewrites with different writers contributing to the final version. However, the chorus storyline, a secret agent framed for a crime trying to clear his name, remained intact. De Palma convinced Tom to shoot the film's opening scenes in Prague, a location that wasn't commonly featured in Hollywood films at the time. The studio wanted to keep the movie's budget low, but Tom had a vision for a spectacular action film. He saved the studio some money by performing most of his own stunts, even when they were extremely dangerous. One of the most famous scenes involved Tom hanging from the ceiling, and he struggled to balance himself without hitting his head on the floor. He eventually figured out how to maintain his balance by placing coins in his shoes, allowing him to complete one of the most iconic scenes in the film. The trick Tom used to fool Jean Reno's character with the CD in Mission Impossible wasn't movie magic. It was a real sleight-of-hand trick he mastered himself. And that memorable restaurant scene with the giant aquarium full of lobsters? That was Tom's idea too. The director originally wanted to use a stuntman, but Tom insisted on doing it himself, despite the risk of drowning. Mission Impossible was a huge box office hit, breaking records on its opening day. Instead of taking his usual $20 million salary, Tom opted for a share of the film's profits, a decision that paid off handsomely. Critics praised the movie, calling it a thrilling and exciting ride. The film's success kicked off an entire Mission Impossible series, with Tom returning as Ethan Hunt in each installment. That same year, he also starred in the romantic comedy drama Jerry Maguire, alongside Renee Zellweger. This movie became another hit, earning Tom his second Oscar nomination. While Tom Cruise's career continued to soar, a personal drama was unfolding behind the scenes. His marriage to Nicole Kidman was starting to fall apart, and rumors suggested that his deepening involvement with Scientology played a significant role. By this point, Tom had become one of the most high-profile Scientologists in the world, and there were whispers that the church's leader, David Miscavige, had a strong influence over him, convincing Tom that he couldn't function without the religion. Nicole, a devout Catholic, found it hard to reconcile with Tom's intense devotion to Scientology. And her father, a psychologist, also voiced concerns about Tom's behavior. In 1997, Nicole left Scientology, and rumors spread that she had disrupted Tom's rituals and questioned the church's intentions. While the full details remain unclear, the strain on their marriage was undeniable. By 2001, they divorced, and their two adopted children chose to stay with Tom and remain involved in the Church of Scientology. Despite the divorce, Tom tried to maintain a strong connection with his children. In 2002, he even left the Oscars early to go home and watch the rest of the ceremony with them. But then, in 2004, something happened that would forever change the public's perception of Tom Cruise. In a bold and controversial move, Tom declared that he believed psychiatry should be outlawed, a view aligned with his Scientology beliefs. This statement sparked a media firestorm and drew widespread criticism from those who supported mental health treatment, causing many to question Tom's judgment and his ties to the Church of Scientology. The controversy surrounding Tom Cruise escalated in 2005 when he publicly criticized actress Brooke Shields for using Paxil, an antidepressant, to treat her postpartum depression. Tom argued that there was no scientific basis for mental illness and claimed that psychiatric medications were harmful. Brooke Shields didn't stay silent. She fired back, defending her decision to seek treatment and urging Cruise to stick to making action movies instead of interfering in women's healthcare choices. This exchange sparked a heated debate about psychiatry and the legitimacy of mental health treatment. The situation reached a boiling point during Tom's appearance on NBC's Today Show in June 2005. In a tense exchange with host Matt Lauer, Tom defended his views on psychiatry, dismissing the effectiveness of medications and coming across as combative. The interview quickly went viral, with many criticizing Tom for his seemingly aggressive stance on mental health issues. The medical community responded strongly, expressing concern that Tom Cruise's comments were harmful and added to the stigma surrounding mental illness. The negative impact was similar to when someone feels ashamed of being sick and hides their illness instead of seeking help. Tom's words made it harder for people who genuinely needed treatment to feel comfortable reaching out. Even The Lancet, a respected medical journal, weighed in on the issue. While they acknowledged that psychiatric drugs might sometimes be overprescribed and that lifestyle changes can be beneficial, they criticized Tom for worsening the situation for those struggling with mental health issues. Brooke Shields, speaking out for mothers everywhere, called Tom's comments a disservice to mothers, especially those struggling with postpartum depression. She felt that his words made it even harder for women to seek the help they needed. Eventually, in August 2006, Tom realized the impact of his words and apologized to Brooke Shields in person. The Church of Scientology, which Tom follows, is known for its strong opposition to traditional psychiatry and psychiatric medications, and this belief had heavily influenced his controversial stance on mental health. Tom's anti-psychiatry views reportedly caused friction with director Steven Spielberg, who had worked with him on Minority Report. Apparently, Spielberg had mentioned a doctor friend who prescribed psychiatric medication, and soon afterward, Scientologists began protesting outside that doctor's office. This incident allegedly upset Spielberg, creating a rift between the two Hollywood powerhouses. In March 2004, another major shift occurred in Tom Cruise's professional life. His longtime publicist of 14 years, Pat Kingsley, unexpectedly resigned, which caught many by surprise since Kingsley was a highly respected figure in Hollywood. Tom then replaced her with his sister, Leigh Ann DeVette, who was also a Scientologist. This move intensified speculation about the growing influence of Scientology on Tom's career decisions. However, Leigh Ann's time as his publicist was brief. By November 2005, she was replaced by Paul Block from the well-known publicity firm Rogers & Cowan. Many saw this change as an effort to manage the controversy surrounding Tom's views on Scientology and his high-profile relationship with Katie Holmes more effectively. In 2013, Lawrence Wright's book, Going Clear: Scientology and the Prison of Belief, offered new insights into Tom Cruise's deep involvement with Scientology. The book, later turned into a documentary by Alex Gibney, claimed that the organization played a significant role in selecting romantic partners for Tom, and alleged that he had taken advantage of unpaid labor from Sea Org and Rehabilitation Project force workers. One of the most shocking claims in the documentary came from Tom's former auditor, Marty Rathbun, who alleged that Tom had his then-wife, Nicole Kidman, wiretapped at the request of the Scientology organization. Tom's lawyer strongly denied this accusation, but it added to the growing list of unsettling claims about his ties to the church. Another disturbing revelation came from Tom's ex-girlfriend, Nazanin Boniadi, who compared Scientology's practice of auditioning women to date Tom to white slavery. Her account further damaged Tom's image and raised serious concerns about the organization's practices. In 2005, Tom wasn't just busy with his acting career, he was also actively promoting Scientology. He lobbied politicians in France and the UK to recognize the church as a tax-exempt organization, and even tried to influence officials in the Bush administration to support Scientology. It was evident that Scientology was more than just a religion for Tom. It was a cause he felt deeply passionate about. Tom has often said that Scientology helped him overcome dyslexia as a child, and believes that the church's teachings offer a path to improve the world. However, not everyone shares his enthusiasm. Some former members, like actress Leah Remini, have openly criticized the church and Tom's involvement. Leah Remini has expressed that she believes Tom has changed over the years, becoming more like Scientology's leader, David Miscavige, and fully committed to spreading the religion. She even claimed that Tom is no longer the kind and decent person she once knew, which added to the ongoing debate about his deepening ties to Scientology. Rumors began circulating that the Church of Scientology was involved in selecting Tom Cruise's next girlfriend, hoping to avoid the same issues he had with Nicole Kidman, who wasn't a Scientologist. They reportedly introduced him to actress Nazanin Boniadi, but their relationship didn't last long. Soon after, Tom met Katie Holmes at a Hollywood party, and the two quickly fell in love. Katie had admired Tom since she was a young girl, and their romance felt like a fairy tale come true. In a whirlwind of excitement, Tom famously declared his love for Katie on The Oprah Winfrey Show, in a moment that would go down in pop culture history. Shortly after, they announced they were expecting a baby together. Tom was so overjoyed about the pregnancy that he even bought a $200,000 ultrasound machine for home use, a decision that drew criticism from medical professionals. In response to the backlash, Tom promised to donate the machine to a hospital once the baby was born. In 2006, their daughter Suri was born, and just 6 months later, Tom proposed to Katie at the Eiffel Tower. They had an extravagant Scientology wedding in Italy, with the head of the church, David Miscavige, serving as Tom's best man. Katie, who was raised Catholic, converted to Scientology to be with Tom. Even amid all the excitement in his personal life, Tom didn't slow down his career. In 2006, he returned to the big screen with Mission Impossible 3. This installment received better reviews than the second film and made an impressive $400 million at the box office. Tom was at the top of his game, earning titles like the most influential actor in Hollywood by Premiere Magazine and the most influential celebrity in the world by Forbes. In Japan, October 10th was even declared Tom Cruise Day in honor of his love for the country. In 2007, Tom took a smaller role in the war drama, Lions for Lambs, but the film didn't perform well. However, he made a big comeback in 2008, with a hilarious, unrecognizable role as the over-the-top movie executive Les Grossman in Tropic Thunder. His performance was so memorable that he earned another Golden Globe nomination. That same year, Tom starred in the historical thriller Valkyrie, which was a commercial success. Between 2002 and 2009, he was nominated for 7 Saturn Awards, winning once. It was an incredible period for his career, with 9 out of 10 of his films making over $100 million at the box office. Next, Tom teamed up with Cameron Diaz again in the action comedy Night and Day. But he quickly returned to more serious action with Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. This film took Tom's stunt work to new heights, literally. At the age of 49, he climbed the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, performing the daring stunt himself, something most actors would never attempt. Ghost Protocol was a massive hit, breaking records for the franchise and earning over $694 million worldwide. Tom continued to embrace action roles in 2011's Rock of Ages, a musical that didn't do as well as expected. He then took on the lead role in Jack Reacher, based on a popular book series. While some fans were upset because Tom didn't match the character's tall stature in the books, the author defended him, saying that Tom captured the essence of the character perfectly. In 2012, Tom Cruise's personal life took another dramatic turn when Katie Holmes filed for divorce. Many believed it was due to her concerns about Scientology and its influence on their daughter, Suri. As part of the divorce settlement, Tom lost custody of Suri and now has limited contact with her, though he continues to pay a substantial amount in child support. Despite the turmoil in his private life, Tom kept pushing forward with his acting career. He starred in the sci-fi film Oblivion and the action-packed Edge of Tomorrow, proving his versatility and dedication to his craft. Even in the face of personal challenges, Tom's star power remained as strong as ever, and he continued to take on daring roles that entertained audiences worldwide. Tom's next big project was a reboot of the classic horror film The Mummy in 2017, where he played a soldier who accidentally awakens an ancient Egyptian princess. Unfortunately, the movie didn't perform well, either with critics or at the box office, but Tom didn't let that disappointment slow him down. In 2018, he returned to the screen as Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible Fallout, taking the stunts to an even crazier level than before. At 56 years old, Tom jumped out of a plane from 25,000 feet, and during another scene, he broke his ankle while leaping between buildings. Amazingly, he kept running to finish the take, showing his incredible commitment to his craft. And Mission Impossible Fallout became a massive hit, earning over $791 million worldwide, making it the highest-grossing film in the franchise. With that level of success, it's no surprise that 2 more sequels were announced. In fact, Tom was even spotted filming on top of a moving train for Mission Impossible 7. It's hard to imagine what other wild stunts he has planned for the next installment. And the excitement doesn't stop there. In 2020, it was announced that Tom would star in and produce a movie filmed in actual space. He's teaming up with director Doug Liman to to make this groundbreaking project a reality, and they're set to travel to the International Space Station on a SpaceX rocket. Now that's what you call a real Mission Impossible. In the meantime, Tom starred in Top Gun: Maverick, the long-awaited sequel to the 1986 classic Top Gun. Although the film's release was delayed a few times due to the pandemic, it finally hit theaters in 2022, bringing back all the high-flying action and excitement that fans had been waiting for. Tom Cruise's love for thrills isn't just limited to his on-screen performances. He's a real-life adrenaline junkie who enjoys skydiving, scuba diving, and even piloting his own stunt plane. He owns a vintage World War II P-51 Mustang fighter plane, which he affectionately calls Kiss Me Kate. In one memorable moment, he even went skydiving with James Corden on The Late Late Show, jumping from a plane at 12,000 feet. Tom Cruise has an impressive real estate portfolio as well. He owns luxurious homes in Beverly Hills and Clearwater, Florida, and also has properties in London and West Sussex, England. In addition to his love for acting, Tom is a big soccer fan, thanks to his close friendship with David Beckham, and he's known to cheer for the Spanish team Real Madrid. But Tom isn't just about fame and fortune. He's widely recognized for his generosity and often donates to charities like the Ashley Flint Fund, the Tsunami Relief Fund, and the Diabetes Foundation. He's also a dedicated supporter of the Church of Scientology, which he credits with helping him overcome dyslexia. One heartwarming story that showcases Tom's kindness took place while he was filming War of the Worlds in Virginia. He visited a Dairy Queen and noticed a jar with a picture of a young girl named Ashley Flint, who had been in a go-kart accident. Without a moment's hesitation, Tom placed $5,000 in the jar to help her family with medical bills. This act of compassion highlights his willingness to help others in need. Although Tom isn't making movies as frequently as he once did, his films remain eagerly anticipated by fans all around the globe. As a superstar, his movies have collectively earned over $10 billion worldwide. It's fascinating to think that despite his enormous success, he's never starred in a Marvel movie, even though he almost played Iron Man back in the 90s. Tom Cruise's life is a true adventure, both on and off the screen. He's a talented actor, a dedicated philanthropist, and a thrill seeker who never backs down from a challenge. It seems like there's no limit to what this Hollywood icon can achieve, and we can't wait to see what he does next.